I know there might be people more qualified than me to talk about Black Panther because, I mean, spoiler alert, I'm white, but here we are.
Whew, relax everyone, Black Panther is as good as advertised. Everything that you've heard about how this will be a pop cultural touchstone that not only revolutionizes the whole superhero genre, but how the now global box office for action blockbusters engages and portrays an all too underrepresented community, has lived up to the hype.
Also, the film is pretty damn great, so yay!
So in case you've been living under a rock for the last few years, Hollywood has been mired in controversy about the representation, or lack thereof, of black people in cinema, and how they're portrayed, and how minority talented actors and creators are all too often overlooked by big Hollywood studio execs in favor of white people and their interests.
Unless, of course, Tyler Perry wants you in a movie, then in that case, that's a good way for a black actor to collect a check.
But hopefully as we get more movies like Get Out and Hidden Figures, we can hopefully move past Hollywood's colorblind lens so we can get more movies like Black Panther, which is a great film that depicts and pays homage to the uniquely identity of African and African American culture in the form of a big budget superhero movie with a global blockbuster spectacle. The story follows T'Challa, who is the Black Panther and the newly crowned king of Wakanda, which is a technologically advanced hidden African country that has isolated itself from the rest of the primitive and uncivilized and violent world,
i.e. America.
During a meeting with his advisors, it's revealed to T'Challa that the longtime enemy of Wakanda, Ulysses Klaw, has come out of hiding, and T'Challa embarks on a mission to hunt him down and eventually discovers a nefarious plot that could shake the world to its foundations.
There's more to it than that, there's more intricacies and nuances to the plot, but I won't spoil them here.
What jumps out to me most about Black Panther is just how different it is from any other superhero movie I have ever seen. Sure, that shouldn't be too much of a surprise because Marvel is, well, Marvel, and the best of their movies have been unique takes that blend disparate genres with cloud-pleasing superhero fare. I mean, the Captain America franchise is a superhero espionage thriller, Iron Man 3 is a superhero action comedy, Thor Ragnarok embraces Jack Kirby's wondrous oddball comic style, the Guardians of the Galaxy movies are dark comedy science fiction films about the importance of family, as well as James Gunn's James Gunniness, and the Avengers is, well, the Avengers.
No explanation necessary.
For Black Panther, director Ryan Coogler has carved out its own niche for itself in the superhero genre by creating a movie that embraces the concept of Afrofuturism and introduces it to mainstream American audiences.
If you're unfamiliar with the term Afrofuturism, don't worry, you're probably not alone.
Afrofuturism is a science fiction and fantasy artistic genre native to Africa that examines the current state of affairs of African people by utilizing art, stories, and movies, most recently in Black Panther, where we see this angle come to play in a visual, thematic, and narrative level. Among the most important visual embodiments of Afrofuturism in Black Panther is the country of Wakanda itself, which is a prosperous metropolis with advanced technology, magnetic railway, and flying cars, and presents a society that is most certainly a part of Elon Musk's most prominent wet dream.
And it's a society that's built over a highly sought-over metal and resource called Vibranium. Or you may remember it as what Captain America's shield is made out of.
What's it made of?
Vibranium. It's stronger than steel and a third the weight. It's completely vibration absorbent.
How come it's not a standard issue?
That's the rarest metal on Earth. What you're holding there, that's all we've got.
The Afrofuturist angle is further emphasized by the predominantly black creators and cast, many of which are the who's who of black creatives and power players in Hollywood right now. Most notably, there's director Ryan Coogler, who's a young auteur-aspiring director who has made quite a career of adapting uniquely African-American stories into films such as Fruitale Station and Creed.
Of which you should totally see those two movies because they are fan-fucking-tastic.
And Coogler has done it again with Black Panther, where he tackles social and political commentary where King T'Challa must grapple with how problematic it is that a super technologically and culturally advanced country is isolated and indifferent to an increasingly global and connected world, where turning a blind eye to the suffering and impoverished for personal gain and tribalism is seen as a problem. Subtle.
So yes, Black Panther means things, and is relevant to current political affairs in America, particularly to those who are African American.
I mean, this should be a given, seeing as this is a Hollywood film with a predominantly black cast, save for the Lord of the Rings alums Andy Serkis and Martin Freeman, which has the internet jokingly referring to the duo as Tolkien Whites.
The internet can be a bad place, but damn, that was a good one.
What's truly cool about Black Panther is entire generations of African American people will be able to see a representation of themselves on screen in Chadwick Boseman's performance, along with his eminent coolness and awesome catsuit in tow. And while he is not the first black superhero to lead a movie, Black Panther is the first of its kind and has been released in an era of a lot of cultural uncertainty for African Americans.
According to a Democratic aide, the president was meeting with a bipartisan group of lawmakers Thursday at the White House when he asked about people from Haiti and Africa, saying, "Why do we want these people from all these asshole countries here?" So
yeah, given the times we live in, Black Panther is a pretty big deal for portraying a community with a sense of joy and pride in a time of social turbulence and political upheaval. And the real kicker is that it's not only the character of Black Panther doing all the heavy lifting in terms of its representation.
Because the title of this film, i.e. Black Panther, is misleading. This is an ensemble performance of a film that is incredibly well cast.
Seeing as Black Panther was already introduced in the excellent Captain America Civil War, a movie that should be in the Guinness Book of World Records for all the plot lines that it was able to juggle while still telling a coherent story, there are plenty of side characters to fall in love with. There's T'Challa's love interest Nakia, who is a human rights activist, and M'Baku is the brutish leader of another rival tribe. Okoye is the greatest warrior in Wakanda society who fights with a spear, and you'd better fucking believe there's an action sequence involving that. And then there's T'Challa's sister Shuri, who is charmingly funny and the smartest person in the Marvel universe.
Think about that. In a universe with Tony Stark, Bruce Banner, Peter Parker, Reed Richards, Shuri is the smartest person out of all of them. Think about that.
However, my favorite of the supporting cast is Michael B. Jordan as the villain Erik Killmonger, where Andy Serkis' Ulysses Klaw is eccentric and motivated by exploiting Wakanda's abundant resources of Vibranium. Killmonger is much more relatable and is quite honestly the Marvel Cinematic Universe's greatest villain because his villainous motivations are intense, personal, and sympathetic, all while playing with the core themes of the movie of how making personal and political decisions based on tribalism and isolationism can harm the world as a whole.
Truly a terrific villain for a 2018 global audience.
If there is one problem with Black Panther, it's that some of the CG is a bit on the cartoony side, and while the action overall is pretty good, I found that the camera was often too close to the characters for a few too many sequences. While this up-close and personal style worked in Coogler's boxing movie Creed, because boxing fights are more personal and the close-ups allow us to get into the character's personal space, superhero movies need to have the camera further away so we can see the action in all its glory.
Which is why Captain America the Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War are still the gold standard when it comes to action sequences in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
With that said, I don't know if Black Panther is my favorite Marvel movie, but it's definitely up there, without question. The story is relevant, the characters are great, the action is fun, Ryan Coogler is verifiably one of the greatest up-and-coming filmmakers, and of course the film's cultural identity is so unique and fresh in this genre. Bring on Avengers Infinity War.
My recommendation for this movie is why the hell have you guys not fucking seen it yet? Get on your game! With that said, I hope you liked the review. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.